Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Welcome to the Boost. Thanks so much for joining us. It's an honor to be here. Thanks so much for your time. We are discussing inherent meaning. That's what I want to get into today, with God's help. Remember last week we discussed the made-up games? We can give meaning to anything. We're meaning-making machines. That's what we do for a living. We give everything meaning. Everything has meaning. You ever have a conversation with something? I do this all the time, by the way. In my head. I really try. I'm just being straight. I really try not to say it out loud. I've learned. You ever go somewhere, or like you're in a company or in an organization, and there's a conversation happening that you're not a part of, and you're just giving the thing meaning? You're like, oh, this is what's happening. You ever do that? You ever give meaning to something that you're sure is what they're saying, and it's not what they're saying? But if your insecurities are rocking you, they're for sure saying this, and that, and you're like, no, no. I just saw a great video. Someone sent me this great video. If you've seen it, maybe send it to me. I don't know where I saw it. I saw this great video about it was just a screenshot of texting, and it said Mazel Tov, I heard that the bride was beautiful and the dress was so nice, and the person responding back texted really, you couldn't come to say even Mazel Tov? And then deleted it, and texted, and you call yourself a friend, you couldn't come to my own daughter's wedding? And then deleted it. And what? Really? And kept on responding back with negative feedback to that, I heard it was beautiful. And then finally, after 5 or 6 times she typed out something and deleted it, said, we really missed you. And then immediately the friend types, yeah, we were on they were on their way, and somebody ran a red and totaled our car. Right? And here's this woman who didn't even say anything, right, after going to the wedding and getting into this car accident, and the person who's hearing it was there, and she's thinking where are you? She couldn't even imagine that there's anything else going on, because in her world, that's the meaning that she's giving to her not being there. We do this all the time. We look at the world from our perspective, and we only know what we know. Right? All our brain has is history. So and imagination really is based off our history. So we only have what we know. And when we look at somebody else or something else, we give it our meaning. We don't know anyone else's meaning. All we know is our meaning. So if I'm at a wedding and you're not, there's only some level of possibilities that it could possibly be. And one of them is that you got into an accident. It's not you got into an accident. So I'm assuming, I'm judging. If someone is talking in the corner, my insecurities are knowing what I know. Why am I not there? I have everything to contribute. Why wouldn't they ask me? They must be talking about me. And the mind's playing games. What it's doing is it's taking something that's neutral and giving it meaning. This is really, in my opinion, important. Not that what I'm saying is important, but this concept is important. I'm sure greater people say it better. We are meaning-making machines. What we do for a living is give things meaning. That's what we do. If someone says hello, we're already really? It's now that hello, we have given it meaning. They're happy, they're not happy, they're already thinking hello. What's that hello? All the insecurities. Oh, really? That's the hello? In the head. I've now taken something that's totally neutral, and I'm putting meaning on it. You look at a game. The Super Bowl has no meaning. It's neutral. It means nothing. Really, it means nothing. I think about this all the time with games like this. Think about it. Imagine if the guys come back on the field at 11:30 at night. Like you can see this like in a movie somewhere, right? Like it's 11:30 at night and the teams like rematch. Can you imagine like if they're like trash talking after the game? They go, "Really?" And they all come back at like 11:30 and they play the same game. Nobody cares. Why? It's the same game. It's the same ball. It could be the same plays because we've given it meaning at 6 o'clock, and the clock that we made it all up. There's no inherent meaning to this thing. Most of our life is navigating a world that is entirely neutral. It doesn't have meaning. Most of our life has no meaning. We give it meaning. We place meaning on things. It's meaningful. It's the craziest thing. If you're in college, it's amazing. College pulls the greatest scam of all time. What is the greatest college scam? They created equity through thin air, right? They have a currency. College is a currency. What's that currency? It's called credits. A credit isn't a real thing. You can't trade it on the market. It's not a dollar. It's not backed by gold. It's thin air. It's not real. Colleges make it up. To graduate our college, you need 128 credits. Why? I don't know. Where'd you get the number from? I don't know. And this class gives you 3, and this class gives you 4, and this class gives you 2, and you take it on the week and get 1, and if you do a paper, you get an extra 1. It's a game. They made the whole thing up. And you know what we do? Because we want to get a degree from them because our society decided that degrees are really valuable, which in most jobs is completely irrelevant, but it's a whole other conversation. We play the game. How much per credit? They're like, I don't know, $20,000 per credit. $20,000 per credit? You know what that is? Well, I don't know. Go borrow it. Well, I know. And people are, and we'll go for it. Okay, whatever. I know it's $20,000. I got to borrow from the government anyways. So all right. It's not, credits don't exist. Credits aren't real. They're made up. They only exist in the registrar or the bursar. I forgot which one. Registrar or bursar. Someone tell me. In an office that you go to and you see somebody, or now probably on your app, it tells you how you're doing. And in this space, only in college, only in this college, or law school, whatever, they give you something called credit. They made it up. It has no meaning. It's just classes. But just to get people along the way and figure out how to get them, navigate them, and keep them longer, and get them in school for a certain amount of hours, they created this system. Grades. Think through the whole educational experience. I'm not saying that education isn't meaningful. You gotta know how to read and write. You gotta know how to delve into your mind. I thought education is incredibly meaningful. Some of the education. Some of it's honestly wasteful. You need education. How are you gonna navigate this world? But the system around it is made up. Somebody gave it meaning, and you go into the meaning and it overwhelms you. One of the great transitions that you see when people come out of universities is how little respect people give the university. I mean, if it's a nice but you don't get the I took 20 credits. Yeah, whatever, do your job. It's I was in a world, I was in a game. It had meaning. I got my credits. I got on this journal. I was involved in these 5 activities. And then you get out to the other world, and the second world, the work world, doesn't really care. After 2-3 years, all that meaning disappears. Think about now for college credits, and you're like, what? It has no meaning, but never had meaning. So why there was I going crazy to get credits? And how come now I don't value? Because it wasn't inherently meaningful. Maybe the education that you received was meaningful, but the whole game around it wasn't meaningful. I gave it meaning. That's what I do. We give meaning to things. We create meaning. And when you create meaning and people buy into it, it affects your emotions. It could be totally made up. I love football, but it's totally made up. Like, it's not real. And the whole games are made up. And yet people will have heart attacks after their team loses because they're emotionally lost in made up things. But most of our society, really, if we really want to like speak straight and have a couple of minutes to think it through today, and then I'll talk about it again tomorrow, but let's just like let simmer on this for a second. Most of the things that drive us crazy, or many of the things that drive us crazy, are things that our society just made up. It's made up. It's meaning to things that we stepped into and were thrown by. Even things that we want. And when you go to different communities and when you see different societies and cultures, you see that they have different meanings. And so in one society, the size of your home is so important, and people will work their lives. In another society, the size of your home is actually a negative. It shows that you've sold out. Your life isn't meaningful enough, and people will go the other way. And so so much of what we're doing, and if you think about it, and the emotions that we have, and the fears that we have, and the concerns that we have, and the pushing our children into things, is because of society's meanings. But they're not inherently meaningful. All right, we'll talk about this. I hope I'm making sense. All right, everybody, have a great day. With God's help, can't wait to see you again tomorrow.
Living on a lifeline, the world doesn't ever seem to change. Looking for the sunshine, but you're caught up in the rain. It's like your eyes are wide open, but you cannot see. You're watching life pass you by like 1, 2, 3. Walking in destruction, the winds of life blur your vision. All the devastation, forever feels like you're on the run. It's time, no one else can set you free. You're locked inside, and only you have got the key.